Aviation Fin UK, runway 01, clear for takeoff.
Hello and welcome to another Aviation Sim UK video. Firstly, my apologies for the lateness of this video. It's been a few months. Things have just been really busy with trying to develop certain things, which you'll find out soon enough. So, the purpose of today's video is going to be looking at the lighting system of aircraft and what the lights actually mean, because these are commonly misunderstood and it's just useful for people to know. So it's a little bit dark at Gatwick, so you can kind of see the lights once we switch them on. So firstly, if we just go from right to left, so you've got the wheel well lights, so I don't know if you'll be able to see these very well. But in the walk-arounds, when the pilots have a look at the aircraft to make sure it's airworthy, they'll have a look under the wheels to make sure there's no hydraulic fluid leaking and all the cables and pipes look secure and nice, and basically to make sure that everything's working as well as you can test the gears on the ground. And the wheel well lights basically just light up the wheel wells to allow you to better see underneath the wheels. So you've then got the wing lights. So the wing lights will light up these engine areas and basically below the wings. And this enables, again, with the walk-arounds, for the pilots to have a look and have a better look about under the wings and the engine areas. So it just means that the pilots don't have to use the torches as much, and it's a bit better lighting. So, the anti-collision light. The anti-collision light is better known as the strobe light in the Airbus. Sorry, not the strobe, the beacon light in the Airbus. And what it is there's a red rotating beacon above and below the aircraft that basically goes round and round in circles. And what this denotes to the ground crew that the aircraft is ready to move. On top of this, in the air, these beacon lights also denote that this is a passenger aircraft. So if this were a military aircraft on military operations, these beacon lights would be white rather than red. There was an accident several years ago involving a Air Korean 747 where it accidentally strayed into Russian airspace, and the fighter jets intercepted the 747, but due to the humped design they couldn't see the beacon lights, so that meant that the pilots thought that it was military aircraft, and therefore they decided to wrongly shoot down the civilian aircraft, which was bad and caused a lot of issues in the time. So, we then have these position, strobe and steadies, or these are split into strobe lights and then nav lights in the Airbus. So steady is these navigation lights, which are red for the left wing and green for the right wing. And what these help is these help you to be able to see the aircraft whilst you're in the air or on the ground better. So, if you're ever on the ground and you see an aircraft flying above you, you'll see the strobe lights, but you'll also, more than likely, see the navigation lights as well. And so these basically help other pilots to be able to know whether your aircraft, with the way it's flying, is going to be an issue or not. So if I'm sitting there looking at this aircraft and I can see green, so going from left to right green, then red, I know that that's danger and I need to start doing something. Okay? Whereas if I'm coming from the other way, and going from left to right I see red, then green, I know that it's safe because you're flying further away from me, and that means that you're safe for me, basically, in the simplest terms. And you'll see these on ships and everything. So, you've then got position, strobe and steady, or you'll have the navigation lights and then the strobe lights. And you can see these reflecting. These are white flashing lights. And what these basically mean is that it's easier for you to be able to see the aircraft whilst you're in the air. So the strobe lights are turned on when the aircraft enters the runway, and they'll remain on until the aircraft vacates the runway once they've landed. So this basically denotes that makes it easier to see the aircraft whilst it's in the air, because the flashing light draws your eye line towards it. And you'll also, if you stand on the ground and look at aircraft like when they're cruising, you'll see these strobe lights as well, especially when it's dark. So, the next light is the logo light. So the logo light, it's not very depicted very well here, because it's a bit too bright. But you can see the reflection of the light here. And what the logo light is it lights up the logo on the tail of the aircraft. And this is basically used when it's dark. And it means that other aircraft are able to see what aircraft type you are. So obviously the tail of the aircraft is unique to the airline. So if I was to see this tail, I'd know that it's a Ryanair. So I don't have to look at the whole aircraft, which is probably dark. I can see the tail, know it's Ryanair, and then I know that I need to give way to him. So obviously you've got like British Airways that has the waves, and bits, and other airlines have their own tails. It just makes it easier. There was a big thing with Norwegian where they started altering the tails of the aircraft that were basically unique to each individual aircraft, and that started confusing pilots drastically. So they were told to basically stop it and to use one tail for the whole fleet, basically. So going to the left, you've then got these taxi lights. So these are, this is going to be a bit difficult to show. Oh, it's not on because I don't have the APU on. But basically, the taxi lights light up the nose wheel steering lights. And they denote that the aircraft is in movement or taxiing towards the runway. Okay, and these will basically move when the wheel moves and bits like that. And you only turn them on when you're taxiing. So if you stop taxiing, you turn the taxi lights off. Okay, you've then got these runway turn-off lights. These are a lot brighter. And these are basically to increase the other pilot's visual awareness of this aircraft. So they light up the sides of the aircraft, or the turn-off points. So if you're like vacating a runway and you think of the turn-offs, then they light up these sections. As I said, this is just to increase your awareness if you're looking at the aircraft. Because if you think about the taxi lights are only going straight on. So if this pilot was turning left, and we're looking at it from this direction, we wouldn't see any taxi lights or any lighting at all. So obviously these should be turned on when the aircraft is taxiing again. It just means that we've got better visual awareness of this aircraft, along with all the other features that we're talking about. Okay, and last but not least is the landing lights. So, the landing lights, like the runway turn-off lights, but brighter and go more forwards of the aircraft. And these basically mean that the aircraft is more visual to other aircraft. So these are on when the aircraft, it depends on the carrier, but these are typically on when the aircraft enters the runway, or with some carriers, when the aircraft is cleared for takeoff. And these remain on all the way up to flight level 100 or 10,000 feet. Okay, so these help other aircraft be able to see this aircraft, along with the strobes and navigation lights. Because below flight level 100, you're also required to use see and avoid. So this is where the pilots maintain a continuous visual watch outside of the aircraft for other aircraft that might not be known to ATC or this aircraft, so that they can see the aircraft and avoid it. Which is, as it says, basically. And this is used by VFR aircraft all the time, or IFR aircraft up to flight level 100. Okay, and that is all of the lights that you get on the aircraft, and why and when you use them. So I hope you found this video useful. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, give a thumbs up for the video. If you've got any questions, then feel free to leave any comments that you fancy, and check out our website at aviationsim.uk. And we'll see you for the next video. Take care. Bye.